Cincinnati's ready for the Big 12. It was time for them.
I am fired up.
It's a blessing to be able to be in this league with y'all, putting on for UC.
Cincinnati, a basketball school.
And there he goes. Touchdown, Bearcats!
Raquama again, another slam inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GoBeercats podcast, part of the Catskeller Social Club. I'm Brandon. That's Darin. And we got in this crazy sports weekend that is the kickoff of March Madness. We got a lot to talk about here, Darin. The Bearcats win. So far, they've survived, and so far they've advanced in two different ways in two different games. How are we feeling today?
Feeling good. Yeah, we survived. We advanced. We're the only tri-state team left, I think, in any postseason at this point for that. So, while everybody else was rooting for Nevada to lose, I was like, recency bias. I want Dayton out.
Yeah, I think you were the only one in the Discord that was pulling for Nevada there. I could not let myself do that, but I can see it there. And then Dayton, they got taken care of next round against soon to be Big 12 Arizona in the round of 32. So big weekend. I have watched a lot of basketball since Thursday. I've made a lot of $2 bets on DraftKings since Thursday. Not very many of which have paid off, but it's been fun nonetheless. It's luckily I where I was couldn't bet on the Bearcats. I didn't get that in time for the Bradley game, but we'll get into that. We got a lot to talk about here. We'll hit on the women's team. Their first round game in the NIT was brutal. We have some baseball to get caught up on, and we'll check in on the Catskeller Social Club bracket challenge as well here. Usually 1 minute I'm in the top 10, and then before the night's out, I'm back down to like 30th. So it's been up and down every day. So we'll see who's in the lead there, if that's had any changes there since Thursday. And let's get into it, man. I'm off tomorrow, so this is my second beer of the day. It's not going to be my last, but before we jump into it, it's time for a beer brought to you by the Delhi Liquor Store. Darin, I am back behind the bar at the liquor store now. This is my first weekend back. It was a good weekend back to go, I guess, with March Madness. So you can catch me up there on the weekends behind the bar, slanging beers around. This one I didn't get from there. This one I got in Indiana while I was there on business, and I decided to mix a little bit of pleasure in there as well. This is a coffee cake stout from Big Lug Brewing, and it sounds delicious. It's only 5.8%, which I like my stouts to be a little higher ABV than that, but this isn't a bad one to get, kick the day off, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big stout person when it comes to a lot of my beers. Obviously light too, for sure, just to have something easy to drink around. But if I'm going to pair it with a meal, I usually go that route first. Or just Guinness is my default on top of that. So yeah, it's look at that color.
It's thin for a stout. It's not real thick, but it's coffee right away. And then you get kind of the pastry cakiness on the back end, like a little bit of cinnamon hint there, just a little bit. That's pretty well done. It's almost like a session stout, if that is a thing, at 5.8%. So I might finish this one early here and grab another one out of the beer fridge. Before we jump into the Bearcats, I went on an Ohio State podcast earlier this week.
It's true.
And talked Bearcats football, Bearcats recruiting, really the city of Cincinnati recruiting as well. I did my best. I think, talked a little bit about the philosophy and approach that Coach Satterfield has taken on recruiting since he's gotten here, and how that may or may not look like or be similar to what Fickle did here. So I think it went pretty well. Eric, the host, he did ask me my thoughts on Ohio State, and I tried to be as nice as possible. I don't know if that came across or not, but I tried. So I'm gonna put the link in the show notes for that show. If people have not checked that out yet, it would certainly be cool for you to do that. So that team in the middle of the state knows that we have some diehards that'll tune in when we talk Bearcats. So check that out, please. It's a pretty maybe like a half hour, 40-minute discussion. So hopefully I threw some good nuggets in there for the Ohio State listeners as well.
Yeah, they weren't too mean to you, were they? They didn't treat like little brother too much. You know?
Very cordial, very nice. Eric, the host, is a Reds and Bengals fan, so it wasn't like we didn't have anything in common there. So his big thing was talking about all the high star recruits or big names that come out of Cincinnati, and the guys that Ohio State wants, and talked a little bit about how Kentucky has been creeping in to the Queen City on recruiting recently as well. So some good stuff there. Be sure to check that out. Like I said, I'll put that link in the show notes here so you can check that out. It's on YouTube, just like you should be subscribed to the Catskeller Social Club on YouTube. If you're not, do it. It don't cost nothing. So just subscribe, be cool, and let's talk Bearcats, Darin. We've beat around the bush here long enough. We've buried the lead. The Bearcats, the men's Bearcats, are still playing basketball after surviving an overtime thriller, and then moving on to the next round against Bradley, a game that I never felt was in jeopardy, which is a completely different feeling than the first round.
Yeah. That San Francisco game was frustrating. You saw my frustration with that one. I was very much at the point where I'm like, we deserve this L at that point. Because it's tail as old as time, not closing out the game. You have a comfortable lead with almost no time to go, and you let them back. I mean, not that they were ever out of the game, but you were cruising at that point.
Mm-hmm.
A couple goofy missed dunks, some bad passes. They cut it down to 7, 5, 1. And it's like, okay. And then you're battling back at that point. You're chasing the game with a do or die situation.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure you have now to take it to overtime. So and thankfully Seamus, he didn't go cold, 28 points, heroic 3 at the end of the game there. He's really, close to, if not there, is pretty close to that, just consistent 3-point threat. We found the play that works for him,
I mean, Seamus was 8 for 10 from 3 that game. If you shoot 80% from 3, like, that is insane to me that anyone could do that. And we've seen, in the postseason so far, we've seen some heroic 3-point shooting. The dude from Oakland who made 10 threes against Kentucky to knock them off. Seamus there the other night. I don't know what it is about the water in March, but seems to light fires on people. So we'll take it. In the middle of the season, Darin, there's a lot of people online, wherever, that really questioned, maybe even to the point of really questioned whether or not or why Seamus had a roster spot.
Yeah.
That not as advertised. What did we see in this guy? Why for all the work that he did at Butler, or he was at Butler, right? Yeah. Whatever positives Miller thought he had, he certainly wasn't bringing that to the table here in Clifton. And then as the season rolled on, like the Mark Adams on the broadcast yesterday said, the crowd is cheering for his made shot before it even comes out of his hands. As soon as he catches it, the crowd's cheering, and then he shoots it. And I mean, odds are he's making it, but like he's become such a staple in the offense, the primary bucket getter, that all those concerns are forgot about, and those people are racing to Twitter to delete those tweets.
Yeah. I got a buddy, from the postcast. He says, "Stand by your takes on Twitter." Kudos to him. When he has some bad takes and becomes the villain of the day, he doesn't delete them. Stand by your takes. Obviously within reason and within time. But if you're going to be hot in the earlier in the game and spout off some nonsense, or early in the season spout some nonsense, stand by it. You said that. Eat crow and say you've learned, in the face of new information, and just keep it rolling.
That's sage advice. If you're gonna stand by the tweets, for sure. So CMOS 28 against San Fran. Dan Skillings, doing what he does, put up 16. And then, well, to be completely honest with everyone here, let me tell you about how I watched this game, Darin. First half on the couch in the living room, locked in. Wife gets tired. She says, "Let's go finish watching the game upstairs in bed." So watching the game in the second half. Next thing I know, I wake myself up snoring, and there's about 90 seconds left in the second half. So I missed all of the worst parts of the game. I didn't see any of that. And I woke up just in time to see the overtime and the CMOS game winner there. Meanwhile, having to be dead quiet so I didn't wake up my wife. I'm just in bed, trying to be as quiet as possible and celebrate as hard as I can. But that was, I guess that was good timing. I didn't see any of the bad parts, only the good. And I bring that up because of what I did not see is the Day ankle injury.
Yeah, I understand.
So
actually,
that it turns out that he's out with a broken foot. He missed, obviously he missed the Bradley game, and that sort of let Jizzle step up, get his first start of the season, and really show off what he was about on the basketball court yesterday, as he was everywhere all at once and seemed to be doing the right thing at the same time.
Yes.
Let's see, where are we at with Jizzle here? He put up 25 on 11 of 17 shooting, 2 for 5 from 3, only shot 1 free throw. I don't know how that went. He made it. And maybe the most important thing here, 1 turnover for the game. That's correct. With now, and then here's maybe the second most important stat: 38 minutes of PT. He played almost the entire game except for 2 minutes. That's crazy.
He stepped up. And I think everybody liked enough of what they saw from him throughout the season, especially down the stretch where he really started to, like I said, cement himself as a part of the rotation. And he's still a freshman. There are mistakes that come out every once in a while, but even started to limit those down the stretch of the season, to the point where he's become reliable enough, and he went off. He has one of the cleanest fadeaway distance twos I've seen in a while. I was explaining to somebody yesterday. I'm like, it's he's so deep on his twos that he might as well take another step back and it's a 3, But then he misses those times. So it's like the way he charges in, steps back. He's just got that motor. It works for him. It's part of his game. There was even to end that 3 to end a half from him. Yeah, you could tell he was frustrated when we gave up a really bad, 2-pointer to end the half, because that just killed all. That killed all. I didn't say kill. It didn't kill all of it, but it took a good chunk of the momentum out that he had from that 3 going into the half. But hey, you step up when called upon, and it's his job to run with it at this point for the remainder of the tournament at this point. So
Yeah, I mean Bradley did not have an answer for him
No.
For Jizzle at all, and then you combine that with 20 from Danny, who's again just in the first half he was again everywhere. He was whether it was rebounds or just getting to the rim. I still want to see. I'm going to look this up one day, or maybe have to create it myself. I'm sure it's already out there. I want to see his shot selection and his makes and his misses versus the corner three and everywhere else. Because I swear if it's a corner three, it's in. I'm run back, jog back, get back on defense, and get ready to play because it's going in. Anywhere else, not so much. But it'll be fun to see his shot selection there from the three corner versus the three everywhere else, because it seems like that he's got that corner shot in his bag, no problem. Jizzle, Dan, both of them the stars of the game there against Bradley. We did so in the last two games in the NIT here. We've seen Vic lock in a total of 2 minutes in the San Francisco game, 0 minutes in the Bradley game, and Wes Miller puts out a interesting quote that some people are trying to read the tea leaves on. That they asked what was up with Vic, and he said nothing's up with Vic. We're just going to need him as we advance in this tournament. Are you buying that, or you think there's more there?
Well, I mean, based on who we're playing next, he's got a role he can play in that.
That's true. We have Indiana State at Indiana State, and they do have a stretch five, and I mean you're not going to play Reynolds on that.
No.
The stretch five that can shoot a three, I should be even more specific there, because Bandango playing defense on the perimeter is not something you want to put your faith in as well. That the role for Vic, or his time to shine and contribute in a big way, could be against Indiana State.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the man, the legend. They robbed that of us. Not only did the NCAA rob us of him being in the tournament, now it's our problem to deal with here at the lowly NIT. So it's going to be a tough one. Like, this was, everyone was rooting for Minnesota because everybody knows how dangerous this kid is. He is I want to say total package, but like, he'll get a look, at least for sure going at the next level. The kid can shoot from anywhere. He's got the size to drive in if he needs to. It's just going to be a problem. So we got 2 days to prepare for it.
Indiana State they can score.
Yes,
they can score. They certainly did that earlier today as we record this on Sunday. They did that earlier today against Minnesota. I mean, they have three guards that can drop 20 on you. I mean, Kent had 16, Larry had 16, Conwell had 23. Pick your poison there and see what happens. It will be very interesting. And they had 8 guys play today. And so it'll be very interesting how we match up with them and what they try to do. I think if there's nothing up with Vic, I do expect him to play a decent amount against the Sycamores. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Odie as well. Very athletic, can jump out of the gym, but in the post, he's not really effective. But if you're going to ask him to run around and get his hands active on the perimeter, that might be a little bit more of for him as well. So we'll see what happens with the lineup decisions. One thing that we didn't get that I did expect, we did not see the other CJ get any playing time for the Bearcats. I thought we'd see him run the point a little bit. There's questions with Day being out. One was Jizzle going to be able to play all those minutes, and the answer was yes, he can, no problem. It looks like, and was CMOS going to help run the points, and which I totally against that idea. They tried that experiment in the middle of the season. It did not work. We know what CMOS is good at: run him around the screen and let him pop and shoot. The guy who initiated some of the offense that maybe we forgot about or wasn't expecting was John Newman. He was very active on the perimeter, getting the offense started. Not necessarily running a traditional point, but it seemed to be him and Jizzle much more than CMOS and Jizzle or anyone else.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting for sure. I concerned. I'm prepared to accept fate here, but we're capable. I will say teams aren't totally shut out against them. No one's gone below 60 against them all season except IUPUI.
Okay.
So it's possible, actually, Southern Indiana as well, but it's a rare occurrence. So we can put up some buckets against them. It depends. It just depends on how much we can stop them, how little we can limit our turnovers, and I mean, because it's just going to be a challenge, regardless. Like I said, should have been a tournament team. They unfortunately, just happened to lose the last game, but still deserving. So
that's I mean that inability to shut out teams is very solid there.
Yeah.
Very, very good nugget. I mean, if you look at the first round of the NIT, they played SMU.
Yep. Still dropped 92
SMU
on them.
put up 92 points on them. That is, I mean, they let Rice score 88 this year. Definitely will give up stuff on the offense or the defensive side. So that'll maybe we got a high scoring affair. Maybe look for the over. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the over is set at for this game and whether or not that's obtainable or not for both of the teams.
Well, I mean, you don't just have to watch out for Robbie. It's Jason Kent too, because him being on the floor. I mean, he went off for that SMU game. Even still contributed 16 points for the Minnesota game today. 35 against Drake, even when they lost. I mean, he's just 22 against Drake, even when they lost. Bad game against UNI, but I mean, he's been pretty consistent for them. It seems like he's just catching fire right now for them. So, obviously one guy gets all the press, but that frees up others to do damage. It's going to be an interesting matchup. They'll have the shorter rest on this playing the day.
True.
Minnesota, gave them a good run today. Ultimately fell short. But it's just, you don't know what you're going to get. You're hoping that we stay physical, stay loose.
That's what I was about to ask, Darin. So you say, stay physical. Mm-hmm. My question was going to be what do you look for the Bearcats to do with? I mean, it's a smaller roster for Indiana State. They got a couple of 6'10" guys.
Yeah.
You look for the Bearcats to run and gun, or you think they maybe win? I mean, do you play Reynolds more often and try to get him to post up and slow the game down?
Yes.
What do you look for the Bearcats to do?
Absolutely try to slow it down. I mean, we got a team that's about firepower and pace. Cut the pace off, because it kind of seems like once they get heated up, it's tough to slow them down. I mean, that gap. I mean, they were in control of the game against Minnesota most of the time. Really from the middle of the second half, and then the start of the game was kind of where they were combating. But they were in control, even though they were within catching distance. They just were out of the game at that point. They did keep them. I mean, like I said, they kept them low. They had them 10 turnovers. They out rebounded them. What we're going to have to do at that point is actually do something with those rebounds. We're a good rebounding team. Like I said, they do play. They are a smaller lineup. hopefully we don't have the reputation of a fouling, team. And it's gonna be important to get a feel for how the ref is, calling the game early. Because there's just that bias. You got the size advantage on people. So you hope that doesn't become too much of a factor. But if it doesn't, perfect. Make it, make their shots tough. Get in their face. Make them see over you. Get the second chance balls. Do something with it, and then leave it up to faith at that point. So, yeah.
Here's one thing of concern that I'll have. It can be the last thing that we talk about the men's side of things here. So in the first two NIT games, you have Bandango with 6 points, Lockin 0, Millie 1. And then in the second game against Bradley, you have Bandango 3 points, Tolentino 0, Reynolds 0, Oguama 0. Vic did not play. I think we got to get a lot more production from our post players.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, if we are going to slow it down, if you're going to try to beat it in the paint, it can't. I mean, our guards, when they want to, do a great job of getting into the paint. Dan has done that very well the past 2 games and has put up 20 points doing it. That's what he does probably better than anything else, maybe other than rebounding. But not 10 points total from any of our 5 post players. Not really going to cut it in an NIT tournament or anything moving forward. I want to see more production from them, especially if Vic is going to get some more minutes here. I want to see what he can do, maybe boost those numbers up a little bit for our post players.
Yeah, I think, and I wonder if that's just West going with a hot hand and what's getting points at that point. In this case, it's been CMS come to life and obviously just consistent play from Dan, and then even the guards just playing deep for whatever reason and it working. You hope he doesn't make the adjustments too late if that doesn't continue to be the case. And who knows? Maybe we do see him try to start big and drive it in. But he's been slow to adjustments. Hopefully they don't they just get up and start firing, and we're trying to find out what works, and we're down like 10 or 15 out of nowhere.
Yeah. I have 2 more things here. I was forgetting about here, and I definitely want to bring this up because I think it's definitely something that fans will be discussing maybe for a while, and we'll see what happens here. But I mean, we've talked about Jizzle before.
Yes.
He's impressed everyone from coaches in the Big 12 to whoever else that matters, announcers, and what have you. We've talked about him needing more playing time at times. We've talked about him needing to be on the floor more with Day, and we've discussed on the show what does he need to start. And I think whenever we talked about this, we said he definitely needs more playing time. He definitely needs to be in the game at crunch time when we've lost so many games close at hand, and a lot of times we didn't even see him on the floor to try to impact the game. I think what will be discussed and what people will be talking about is, should Jizzle have started before this past Sunday? Should Miller have given him a chance to get that? I mean, does it even matter if you're starting? But I mean, as I think about it, if you're on the floor, is it just more playing time that he needed? Was it a starting gig that he should have got? Like, what should have happened with Jizzle now that hindsight will be 2020?
I don't regret how Wes has played him. I mean, if that first game he did go off, way back when. The game to follow up when we gained more minutes, he was cold. So, obviously, and also obviously still filling out college at that point, so ebbs and flows. So I mean, yes, always need more minutes. That's just going to be how you learn and progress. But I think he was waiting for that consistency to come out, and even before obviously he started at this point, he was really good off the bench. Maybe West just liked him off the bench, running an entire defense and changing up pace, high motor. Again, also he's a freshman, so his body, as much work as they do in the offseason, how acclimated is his body going to be to getting heavy minutes to start earlier in the season, midway through the season? Now he's got some wear and tear on him, and he's battle tested. He's in better condition to do so. And at this point, we're going to need him now because I mean, he's done for the season. So it's.
I think you bring up a lot of good points there. I mean, this is the postseason. He's had 30 games under his belt here.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously I would have liked to see him on the floor in crunch time a little bit more. And I don't know, like maybe just to shake things up, throw him in the starting lineup a time or two just to see. Like it's tough when you are being held to the fire and you have to start him because DDT has a broken ankle and now you don't have an option. Like maybe you could have known what you were going to walk into a little earlier by giving him a starting point or a starting job, before this, just to see how he handled it. Obviously, against Bradley, he handled it very well, and I'll be curious as the talent that we have coming in next year of freshmen or redshirt freshmen with Ray Vaughn. I will be anxious if someone can get a hold of Wes Miller to ask him this, has Jizzle sort of changed his philosophy on playing freshmen or starting freshmen? What was his, some coaches, this is like a very antiquated idea, but they're like, you hear coaches all the time, like, well, I'm not going to play a freshman. Those times have sort of come and gone, but like, there's still sort of those, trust factor and everything. So I'll be anxious to see next season how he handles like the freshmen, if they're, ready to produce like Jizzle did this year, how he handles them in the lineup and everything. So it's more to watch out for as we go forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, looking back at that Bradley game, interesting tidbit from a defense perspective. Going in the half, they were talking about Bradley had won this year usually by just scoring a lot of points, and then being up on opponents going into half. So going into half, we had them on pace to hit around 54, I think, points. Mm-hmm. So they were saying they had to score 70 to win normally, or at least to statistically have a better chance of winning. I wonder, looking at this Indiana State game, defense is going to have to be the key, obviously, right? Like I said, out rebound them. But it's weird. It's weird because like Drake has beat them twice, right? Those were that was 2 of their 3 losses. If I'm not, well, also Alabama just whooped on them too. So have better talent. This one is another thing. They lost to Michigan State, lost to Bama, 2 conference teams. Sorry, 2 NCAA tournament teams. But Drake has had their number this season, beating them in the postseason and beating them in the regular season once. It seems like you have to hold them to a threshold here where they just are not, just not able to score, or at least be on pace. Because looking at these losses, Michigan State held them 75. Drake held them actually they beat Drake once. Held them to 78 and then 80 respectively in both the losses. Illinois State 67, 69 for Southern Illinois. It seems like within that range, if they're not on pace to hit above that, they're not going to have a good time. because I mean, even when they beat Drake, Drake still held them to 75 points. So it seems like they have to hit at least 80 usually to be within contention, and be on pace into that, or not chasing. It seems like they do a lot of their damage. So if we can defend well, and it's not like that, like Drake even out rebounded them really, because I mean Indiana State came down with a high percentage against both those games, but I think just doing enough to their shots and taking away the first and second shot is going to do wonders if we can do that. So
for sure, we will see another 9:00 tip on Tuesday. Another late one. I'll see if I can't sleep away all the bad parts and wake up for the good ones again. I don't know if that'll be possible, but hey,
I mean,
we'll see what we got.
The bracket too. Looking ahead, real quick, if you want to peek, just in case. We are currently in quarterfinals. So past that, looks like this isn't completely updated. Well, they're off by a bit here. Is that so yeah, we're waiting for VCU South Florida to finish tonight. And then Iowa and Utah at 9 p.m. to determine who's going to come out of that.
You got VCU in South Florida here. I don't know if it's blurry on my screen without sharing it. And then down here you got Iowa and Utah. Of course, Indiana State winning here on this side of things.
Ohio State cooking on the other side of the bracket.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, we're keeping an eye on that. They beat Virginia Tech, it looks like. So we shall see. We got to take care of business on Tuesday before we worry about what's happening here. But that'll be, interesting to see who comes out of that bottom quad there.
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, we got some dangerous teams left in this tournament. Assuming we're the ones to, make it to where we need to make it. Because I mean, you got Seton Hall. UNLV has been up and down. I mean, they've been trying to build that program back up. Obviously, Ohio State just never really truly goes away. Georgia, Wake Forest, Wake Forest, another bubble team. Georgia, not so much a bubble team, but plays in a really tough conference. Nothing easy left at this point. Because when teams get hot, even if they are like a lower seeded team, when they get hot and stay hot, you gotta be careful. I don't think anybody's left below a 20 win percentage at this point, or 20 wins at this point.
Yeah.
So
they only keep getting better, that's for sure.
So gotta be careful.
We shall see. Talking about picks and brackets here. Let's do our Catskeller Social Club bracket challenge update here. We have Captain Cincy, our very own Captain Cincy, currently ranked tied for first, I should say. Very, very good job, Captain, so far. Illinois, Illinois, orange eye, not yellow, is his picked champion. Good luck with that, sir. I don't know. That's quite a reach there. We got some other familiar names. We got the councilman, Joe Barnett, number 7 here. I'm currently having a little bad streak here, right above Brandon Trame here at 19.
Moscato at 26.
Moscato, yeah, we know him. 26. So we got some familiar names there.
Was that Jay at the top there?
Jay, he's at 4th. Keith in the Discord there at 8th. Well, this is the first time I saw this option though here, Darin. The most picked champions in our bracket challenge. Almost 28% of us picked Houston, UConn, and Iowa State to round out the top 3. The captain isn't alone with Illinois here though. 2 picks. He's got one other person in there with him that picked Illinois. That's quite the pick there. Auburn going down. I don't see too many Kentucky picks here. as they got ousted pretty quickly as well. But some interesting choices here with some games happening right now as we talk. So that'll be cool. Good luck. Cincy Light pint glasses on the line there. We'll see who takes that away. I got plenty more to give away. So
yeah.
Good luck to all that entered. I don't know if you'd call it luck running out, Darin, but the Sisterhood got ran off the floor today at Fifth Third. They got dominated. They came out flat. They couldn't play defense, and this one got away from them pretty quickly, as I think they ended up losing by. I mean, at one point they were down 30. I'm bringing this up here now as they took on Purdue Fort Wayne, losing 84-58 a little while ago, and not the way you wanted. I mean, it's cool that they got to the WNIT. We said that we didn't really expect them to make it there. They had a bye, and then they just kind of came out very flat. And I mean, I would even venture to say completely unprepared for this one.
Yeah, I think unprepared is right. A lot of time off in between. You know, I mean, they got bounced pretty early from the women's tournament for the Big 12. Which starts pretty early too compared to the men's tournament on top of that, so you have to keep that in mind. But all the postseason tournaments start at the same time, so even more time than you'd expect out. Not only that, from the start of the tournament, they have a bye, so then they're also waiting another few days. So I mean, they just sat around and obviously practiced, but like you can only practice so much. Or too much sometimes too. Just so much time in between. And no second chances, no do-overs. You got to get right the first time. No warm-up games, you know. And I just think they got caught lacking.
That is for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, we're hoping Hayes comes back, right, for another year.
I think she has one more left. You have Chloe Mann coming in. There's some other recruits that they're working on. So,
future's bright. I mean, we talked about, you know, being ahead of schedule. You make a postseason. You win a game in the conference tournament. You don't finish last. You know, in league play. So I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, second from last is one thing, but you know. 5 wins in conference, still pretty solid. So, yeah, I mean, and it seems like everybody bought in. So that's all good signs, especially for a rebuild, new team, new coach, new conference. So,
I watched the first 3 quarters of the game and then decided to switch over and do something else. But yeah, that was a disappointing way to end the season after being, selected to play, and was hoping they'd get a win or two before, they were ousted. But nevertheless, like you said, it's building blocks, and they got more help on the way. So we'll continue to cover them and see what Coach Merriweather is doing. As far as the other sporting event that we have going on that you got to watch a little bit of, you said the baseball Bearcats, the Diamond Bearcats, they put together a nice little win streak and fought like hell against St. Louis on Friday in a football score of a baseball game here. Give us some updates on the baseball Bearcats and where they are right now.
Yeah. Last we checked, we talked about Kansas. We went over to Oxford on Wednesday. Nice 11-3 win. Good to beat those Red Hawks and let them stay home sad. Then we traveled to St. Louis for this weekend for a series. Close loss on Friday, 12-14. Usually when you start out like that and like don't get blown out, you see potential for the series to go either way. And bounce back we did. Yesterday we won 13-4, dominating performance. great weather for it this week. And then today we just finished up 8-3. For a second, when in the fifth, they looked like they were starting to make some contact. We made a pitcher change, and then that was just kind of all she wrote, and we started cruising. Really, not too many more hits after that. I think we had one more where we stole third, and then I guess there was an error, and we got the guy on base for that one and got the home. Yeah, they just couldn't seem like they could make any. They looks like just like they couldn't make any more contact after we switched out. I think we switched one more pitcher at that point. But a lot of great plays from within the field. A lot of throwing guys out. Not too many like pop flies and things like that, but just knowing where to go with the ball, picking your outs well. Good time. Good times were had by all. Currently, we are sitting at a winning record now. We are at I want to say 15-10. So 2-game win streak. We're 9-3 at home. Kind of away, but that can't be helped. 4-7 still respectable. But neutral sites, we're doing pretty good still. 2-0.
We'll take it.
Yeah, I think so far, we'll have to see getting closer into league play as we kind of push on. TCU is going to be a challenge. Oklahoma State for sure. Just two strong programs. When it comes to baseball, Oklahoma too they're weak fish season with them. Baylor can be a little tough. Not as concerned about that, but still a challenge. Still really trying to figure out where we are on the schedule as far as the rebuild goes. But so far, respectable score. I think once we get into TCU and Oklahoma State, we're really going to know what this team is made of. And have an idea where we stand and match up with the rest of this conference, because those guys are like the top dogs.
Yeah, I'm looking at their D1 baseball page here, mm-hmm. and there's RPI in baseball just like basketball. Mm-hmm. It looks like the Bearcats are 1-4 against top 50 teams, 3-2 against teams ranked 50 to 100, 3-0, 100 to 200, and 7-4 against 200 plus ranked teams. Okay. So a little bit of everywhere on there. The 200 plus 7-4 seems a little weird with the record, the other records that they have, but it's just maybe it's a matter of depth. Of course, we've already talked about the pitching woes or the concerns that they had early on. So yeah, we'll definitely. I hate when coaches say like it's a measuring stick game, but this is going to be sort of like a lot of those coming up in the Big 12 to see where we actually are in the rebuild, like you said.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was concerned about Oklahoma State and TCU, but right now they're bottom of the conference, battling it out.
TCU's fallen off a little bit. They were undefeated for a while, and then I checked. They were like 1-5 in their last 6 games or something.
Yeah. I think they're just trying to get chewed up against conference play. They're good against their out-conference schedule, 17-6 still. So, and right now, everyone's pretty close. Like I said, Kansas and BYU aren't winning a lot of games right now. They're probably the closest to like actual 500 bottom of the barrel teams. Mostly everybody else is sitting around that 15 and up range. But as far as like actual conference standings go, right now TCU and Oklahoma State and Baylor are struggling. Right now Kansas State and Oklahoma. So Oklahoma's still, something we gotta watch out for. We don't play Texas this year, and we won't ever again until we beat them in some other tournament maybe. Those seem to be the ones just kind of rolling. Kansas State's on the 8-game win streak. So and to hang with them like we did, we got some fire. The worst we lost to them was at 0-4 So that's just some good field play and pitching that game from both teams really. And then we went 12 innings with them, if you remember, at the end of that series, and beat them once. So this, ball club might be a little bit better than I'm willing to give them credit for. But like I said, we got to get a little bit more in the conference play. I think another series or so, we're going to know. So maybe Baylor actually will tell us more, especially with TCU and Oklahoma State kind of fighting it out. But yeah, after the series, we got Louisville coming up just for one game. That's going to be March 26th, 5 p.m. First pitch. So that's going to be on the ACC network, I believe.
Okay.
So if coming home from work, people want to watch some Bearcats action a little bit before the game, the UC basketball game, then there you go.
Perfect.
But after that, we go right into Baylor in Waco. So that's going to be from that Thursday into Saturday this week. So. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. That's all the all that I have on in terms of Bearcats. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, we got a lot of just kind of around the horn news. Like, officially, we have a date and tickets are on sale for the New Heights podcast. A little rich for some people's blood, I understand. $100 sometimes for a podcast itself can be a large asking price, but also hearing the logic behind it from the AD makes sense. They want to treat it like a concert, so that ticket pricing itself makes a little bit more sense in that context. My wife did surprise me with tickets. Bless her on that.
Very nice.
So we will be going. Just general, allocation. So we're not going to be living up VIP $2,000 tickets, but
right.
Yeah, I mean it's the student tickets I think are going to be raffled. So that is they're gonna do it randomly, which I think is a good way to do it. And then just VIP tickets are like $2,000, I think, and then $500 for like mid between that that third tier. I'm excited. They're sitting on bringing some, but they had like 4 guests planned or something like that. I was like, for $100, we might get like a throwing contest between Des Ritter, Zach Caleros, Tony Pike, for those field games.
Yeah.
So, but no, I'm excited. Hopefully they release a recording for that, or at least a stream for the people who can't make it. It's the way I see it. The week's honestly kind of sort of a mini homecoming, really. You got the spring game following that Saturday. Then you got the New Heights podcast that Thursday. So a lot going on campus that week, and then pretty soon leading to graduation not too far after that. So yeah, I was talking with my buddy Zach. Shout out to him. We were talking. I was hoping. I mentioned that I was hoping it was they kind of treated it like a Bearcat Fest, 2024. Get some good, some good guests, some people you haven't seen in a while, some good stories just around the program with people they obviously played with respectively within their, their era of being here. And it's just a good time in that regard. I think that'd be really awesome if they treat it that way. Especially as an NIL funding thing.
That'll be a good time.
Yeah. Any hopes for you? I know you're sitting this one out.
Yeah. I mean, I'll hopefully they make it available digitally. I'll definitely check it out. But I'll be anxious to hear your thoughts and what you think, the experience of everything. So that'll be good to get a firsthand look at it.
Mm-hmm. They will be on the spring game, right, that weekend. That's going to be at noon on Saturday.
Yeah, so. That is – I got to make sure my wife knows about that. I've told her once, but I got to, 3 or 4 times to make sure it makes the calendar. So, yeah, definitely want to check that out. You can definitely learn a lot from the spring game, so I definitely want to be there for that for sure.
Yeah, no, spring practice is underway. For that, some good stories coming out of that so far. We'll have to compile our thoughts on that here and talk about that next time. They crashed the ticket site, I guess, when it launched. Everybody was blaming the Swifties. Still a possibility. Who knows? You know that they're the ones that crashed the site.
That would be epic.
Yeah, no. I even had a friend who they're not even a UC alum; they're a Tennessee alum. They said they thought like getting tickets in hope that he would be here. So that would be something. I would just actually laugh hysterically at that point because like it's like no way did they pull someone like that at all. Even just if they interviewed her, that would be freaking funny. Talk about some star power. But either way, I'm happy with what they got going. So yeah, that week should be big. I encourage really people to come into town for that. Maybe just
that'll be here
real coming on that week.
Yeah, that'll be here real soon.
So yeah, yeah. Other than that, I don't think we got anything else to talk about today.
I think we got it all. Reds opening day this Thursday.
I'll be on the belt.
I will be at the liquor store slinging beers for people who want to partake. But we're doing a chili cook-off.
Ooh.
Bring in your crock pot chili and drink some beers, watch baseball, and vote for your favorite one. So that'll be kind of never tried that before. That'll be an interesting event that we have going on there while the Reds make their triumphant return to the Queen City here to kick their season off. Who knows? Might have a lot more basketball ahead of us. Who knows? We'll find out. We'll see some fun things to look out for on Tuesday. And I'm sure we'll talk again next week, whether it's to talk about the NIT championship or the semifinals or whatever it may be. We'll be back and we'll see what we got going on for sure. All right, well, I'm gonna go get another beer, Darin. Cheers. Go Bearcats.
Cheers. Go Bearcats.